being born and raised in Adelaide meant that I went to childcare and school where English was the predominant language, but was taught to speak Kannada, my native language, at home and with the Indian community. Now it's strange because some people like me realize at some point in their life that they can fluently speak 2 or more languages without even realizing how they learned that language, whereas other people have to really work hard in their life to learn another language. But you know what the coolest thing is? No matter when someone learns another language, they will always experience the cognitive benefits of bilingualism. And if you don't know what these are yet, don't worry. I guarantee that by the end of this talk, not only will you know what these are, but that language class that you always wanted to go to will definitely be booked soon. Let's start with executive functioning. Let me break it down for you. Overall, the executive functioning involves planning tasks, paying attention, the organizing and planning of thoughts, and the regulating and monitoring of emotions. So basically, it involves all general cognitive abilities. But interestingly enough, executive functioning is broken down into 3 main components: working memory, inhibitory control, and cognitive flexibility. Working memory. We all use it without even noticing. I mean, I'm sure you all remember having to sit that English exam. We have to memorize a large chunk of writing and then answer the questions on them. How cool did the teachers say? Well, I'm sure you'd be happy to know that bilingualism leads to improved working memory, as bilinguals are able to remember information for longer periods of time and can even apply this. Next is cognitive flexibility, which is basically being able to think about something in more than one way. Now trust me, if you want to become better at maths, then who doesn't, am I right? Bilingualism is the thing for you, because through increasing cognitive flexibility, you might be able to more efficiently apply your knowledge to find relationships between different concepts. Now for the third point, inhibitory control. Let me put it this way. In bilinguals, both their languages are always competing and active, but this clearly wouldn't work out, right? I mean, just imagine being in a meeting with your boss who speaks English and suddenly blurting out random words in your native language. How embarrassing would that be? Or for the younger generation, accidentally saying English swear words in the middle of asking your parents' permission to go to a party in your native language. I, for one, would probably never be able to do that. But luckily for people like you and I, if you're bilingual, there's a thing called inhibitory control. This is a type of executive functioning that assists the brain to ignore competing perceptual information, such as the other language, allowing it to only focus on the required information. Through repeating this process over and over again, the control mechanisms become stronger, resulting in enhanced cognitive and sensory processing. So ultimately, repeatedly using inhibitory control is kind of like a type of mental training, which helps bilinguals to better process information. And even though your brain does this subconsciously, there are so many advantages associated with it. Come on, doesn't that sound super exciting? I mean, think about it. Improved inhibitory control can even mean better multitasking skills. And let's be real, which one of us doesn't want to be able to watch a TV show while still concentrating on work? Also, did you know that in the past 5 years in America, the demand for bilingual workers increased from 240,000 jobs in 2010 to approximately 630,000 jobs in 2015. I don't know about you, but that certainly blew my mind. Now, has anyone ever left something in one place and then forgotten where you placed it, only to find that it was basically in front of you the whole time? Well, luckily for you, bilingualism may be the key to solving this too. Interestingly enough, ladies and gentlemen, bilingualism has the ability to delay the onset of cognitive diseases, such as Alzheimer's disease, by efficiently using brain networks to enhance brain function. And get this, it actually allows the cognitive mechanisms to remain sharp by recruiting alternate brain networks, which can then compensate for the ones that were damaged due to aging. Crazy. This was presented in a study that involved more than 200 bilinguals and monolingual patients with Alzheimer's disease, as the bilinguals experienced the symptoms at an average of 77.7 years compared to 72.6 years, which is 5.1 years later than the monolingual patients. And if you think that's crazy, then what about the fact that Dr. Nan Shu, another bilingualism expert from Macquarie University, stated that the bilingual population would develop the first symptoms of Alzheimer's disease 4 to 5 years later than the monolingual population. 4 to 5 years later. I know, trust me, my mind was blown too. Okay, I get that I've been rambling on about the benefits bilingualism has for old people, but don't you worry. Bilingualism definitely does not discriminate and has benefits for people of all ages, even in infants as young as 7 months old. The ability to discriminate between two languages actually appears at around 4 to 5 months of age for monolinguals and bilingual infants, provided that they've been exposed to another language. But bilingualism definitely provides some benefits. When I was conducting research, I actually came across the fact that put all of this into perspective, as it summarized for me the enormous cognitive benefits bilingualism actually provides. I know all of you are dying to know what this is, so let me just tell you. You know how bilingual infants would have to learn 2 different sets of phonemes, which are the units of sound that allow one word to be distinguished from another? Well, it has been found that there is no major difference between the time required for bilinguals and monolinguals to establish their phoneme repertoires, even though bilinguals have to learn double the amount. So basically, even though the bilingual infants had to learn double the amount, they still learned it in the same time, which is crazy. Now, are there any parents out there worried or a bit nervous to raise their children as bilingual? Yes? Yes? Well, an issue that seems to be upsetting parents the most is the thought of their children not learning fast enough as they have to acquire 2 languages. However, Dr. Mark Antonio, a multi-award-winning researcher from Western Sydney University, has stated that although poorly conducted studies from the 1920s to 1950s suggest that bilingualism may result in disadvantages, these have been shown to be completely false, and there is absolutely no scientific evidence that bilingualism hinders children in any way, especially not for learning languages. And I hope that reassures many. In fact, studies have presented that bilingual infants have an equally strong brain response to English sounds as monolinguals. So ultimately, they will learn English at the exact same rate as the monolinguals. And yes, bilinguals may take a bit longer in their early stages, but as Dr. Mark Antonio and Dr. Wei Fan Han, another expert from Flinders University, have stated, it has been proven that the bilingual children fully catch up after 5 to 10 years, and additionally, when combined between both languages, actually have a larger vocabulary size than monolinguals. And if all of this information is not enough to convince you to learn another language, then will better creativity skills persuade you? Because yes, bilingualism has even shown to help people perform better in conceptually complex visual tasks such as novel drawings and calculating visual perspectives. How about being the better person in situations? Because bilingualism will definitely help with this, as recent research has shown that people who learn a second language in adulthood exhibit less emotional bias and have a more rational approach when confronting problems. So that being said, if you want to have better multitasking skills with the added advantage of delaying the onset of cognitive diseases, and you want your children to be more advantaged at school, then you know what you have to do. Start booking those language classes. And that's all from me. Goodbye, adios, and